Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining us today because, honestly, we're going to completely flip the script on something most of us have been told is a massive flaw. Just picture a really cinematic scene in your head for a second. You've got two people, both of them are incredibly sharp. The world looks at them, but usually it only rewards one. See, we've been totally conditioned to believe that having a mind that constantly races, constantly analyzes, and constantly turns things over is this huge weakness. We slap the label overthinking on it, and we literally try to cure it. But what if the world actually has it entirely backwards? What if your overthinking isn't a flaw at all, but rather this wildly powerful yet completely undirected weapon? Today, we're diving into the source material that proves overthinking is actually a heavily misjudged superpower. And more importantly, we're gonna map out exactly how you can finally aim it.
Just look at the sheer contrast here between two very different types of people. On the left, we've got the fast talker. You know the type, right? This is the person who speaks fast, acts fast, and moves on quickly. And society? Society absolutely loves to loudly applaud this person. We kind of confuse quick movement with competence. But now, look over at the right side, the quiet thinker. This person stays silent, they're just turning things over inside their head. The world often looks at this quiet person and calls them weak, hesitant, or indecisive. But the world is totally wrong here. The person sitting silently hasn't frozen up at all. They are actually doing the heavy lifting. While the fast talker is just reacting to the present moment, the quiet thinker, they've already worked out the other person's next 3 moves before they've even happened.
Okay, let's dive right into section 1, the overthinker's hidden power.
We need to establish a major paradigm shift right out of the gate here. History has literally always favored the deep thinker, provided that deep thinking was eventually harnessed into actual leverage. Check out this timeline and see how this builds across completely different eras. First, back in the 16th century, we have this advisor who gets thrown entirely out of power. He's disgraced, he's unemployed, and he is totally alone. But he doesn't just run away. He sits down, engages that massively overactive mind, and spends years studying every king, every empire, and every rise and fall he's ever witnessed. And out of that intense period of thought comes a legendary book that is still read in the absolute highest halls of power today. Crazy, right? Now jump forward to the 19th century. Here we see a philosopher who is sick, isolated, and totally dismissed for years. I mean, his books are getting absolutely 0 sales. But you know what? He keeps writing, he keeps thinking, and he keeps sharpening his ideas. Sure, neither of these guys were probably the life of the party, but they were incredibly deep thinkers who easily could have been paralyzed by their own thoughts. The crucial difference? They didn't just sit and stew. They took all that internal cognitive energy and turned it into monumental, lasting leverage. So moving right along to section 2, directing your mental fire. So, if overthinking is really so powerful, you might be wondering, why does it usually feel so utterly exhausting? Well, this brings us to the very first rule of weaponizing your thoughts. The only thing missing from your overthinking is strategic direction. It all comes down to this quote: "An uncontrolled fire burns everything. It doesn't choose a path, it just spreads." Honestly, this is the perfect metaphor for what unchecked thinking actually does in your brain. When you have this massive capacity for thought but 0 direction, it's just a wildfire. It's the exact reason you find yourself staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., mentally winning a shower argument that literally happened 5 years ago. It interrupts your conversations, it completely shatters your focus. And the absolute worst part? You never even notice where this fire is heading. It's just chewing through your mental energy without generating any heat or light that you can actually use. Because of that, the crucial point comes down to asking yourself one really critical question. The very next time you feel your mind start racing at 100 miles an hour, you've got to pause and ask yourself, is this thought moving me forward or just wearing me down? Are you actually exploring an angle that no one else sees and gathering useful intel? If the answer is yes, and it's moving you forward, fantastic, let it run. But if it's just a toxic loop of anxiety, if it's just wearing you down and draining your batteries, you have to brutally cut it off before it burns through your energy reserves. Remember, you are the director of this mental fire. Which brings us to section 3, spotting patterns over predictions. Listen, no one, and I mean absolutely no one, can predict the future. But here's the thing, your overthinker's mind is naturally built for something so much better and honestly so much more reliable than just guessing. See, most people go out looking for a coincidence, just an isolated event. But the people who actually get ahead in life, they look for a pattern, meaning they recognize human repetition and habits. Because here is a pretty hard truth from our source material.
people rarely ever change. They mostly just repeat. If someone has broken their word to you 5 times, guessing what happens on that 6th time isn't some mystical prediction. It's just recognizing a pattern. If someone only shows up when they need something, that is not a coincidence, that is a habit. Your mind is already picking up on all these tiny details that everyone else completely misses. You just need to organize them. And here is the exact logical progression to help you organize those thoughts so they actually turn into insight instead of just anxiety. Step 1, one incident means nothing. Step 2, twice is a coincidence. Step 3, a behavior repeated 3 times is a pattern. Let's actually apply this. Say someone replies late to a really important message. An undirected overthinker immediately starts spiraling, asking, oh no, are they upset with me? What did I do wrong? That's just the anxiety talking. But the directed thinker, they apply this exact framework and ask, wait, is this the first time this has happened? Or is this just how they always operate? By filtering their behavior through these 3 simple steps, you remove all that emotional panic and you replace it with crystal clear data. Okay, let's look at section 4, turning fear into action. For this rule, we need to completely reframe how we view fear. For an overthinker, fear is not the enemy, not at all. It is a highly crucial signal that the stakes are real and that this situation actually matters. Notice the stark contrast here between weak thinking and strong thinking when they're confronted with fear. Weak thinking sees fear and immediately backs away from the challenge. It just shuts down. Strong thinking, however, sees that exact same fear, accepts it, and immediately starts asking for the backup plan. If this doesn't work out, what's our safety net? If the trust breaks here, where is the fallback? The most capable, successful people throughout history were not fearless. That's a total myth. They were just impeccably prepared. And that preparation didn't come from ignoring their fear, it came from using their overactive minds to turn that fear into the right strategic questions.
And that brings us to what is arguably the greatest trap for the deep thinker. A blade that's never used rusts, no matter how sharp it was to begin with. Think about it. You can spot the risks, you can see the hidden opportunities, you can understand all the complex patterns. But it means absolutely nothing if you stall out. So many brilliant thinkers just wait. They wait for the perfect moment, they wait for complete information, they wait for total 100% certainty. But let me tell you, certainty is an illusion. And while you wait, your sharp mind literally starts to rust with inaction.
I want you to consider this harsh, undeniable truth for a second. A half-formed move can still win. A move never made never does. The absolute biggest danger to an overthinker is never making a wrong decision. No, the biggest danger is making no decision at all. Because when you stall out while waiting for perfect information, someone else is going to take that opportunity. When you don't decide, circumstances will ruthlessly decide for you. You have got to take that brilliant analytical mind of yours and force it to pull the trigger, even when the picture is only maybe 80% clear. Now, let's wrap up the main concepts in Section 5, 3 power-draining mistakes. So we've learned how to aim the weapon, but before we finish, we need to enter our cautionary cool-down phase and discuss the silent, everyday habits that will absolutely sabotage your newfound cognitive power if you aren't careful. Let's look at 3 major power-draining mistakes to build a defense for your mind. Mistake number 1, building a story with no actual information. Remember our example about the late reply? When you start inventing reasons why someone is acting a certain way without facts, that isn't thinking. That's just guessing. Always stop and ask, do I actually know this, or am I just assuming it? Mistake number 2, explaining yourself to everyone. You simply do not owe every outside opinion a justification for your actions. The less people can predict where you're headed, the less they can read your next move. Guard your strategy. And mistake number 3, giving weight to critics who only point out flaws. The source material is super clear on this one. Someone whose own life hasn't moved forward does not get to define your reality. Real damage rarely comes from the outside. The actual damage happens the exact moment you allow an outside critic to make you doubt your own brilliant mind.
And that brings us to our final overarching mandate. It's remarkably simple, yet totally life-changing. Don't stop thinking. Stop stalling. Deep thinking was never a punishment. When you point it in the right direction, filter out all the noise, and actually act on your insights, it is the absolute biggest advantage you possess in life. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to turn over in that sharp mind of yours. What is the one major move in your life right now that you have totally figured out, but are simply using thinking as an excuse not to execute? It is time to make the move. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.